Controversy continues to trail the proposed tax reform bills. Fishermen voice concerns over shrinking fish stocks in River Kaduna. Mixed reactions from host communities after Warri Refinery's revitalization. On the foreign scene, 23 Congolese soldiers risk death penalty or imprisonment over alleged desertion and criminality. Welcome to Trust News Hour. I'm Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. The Nigerian Labour Congress has urged the federal government to withdraw contentious tax bills currently before the National Assembly, citing concerns over the welfare of Nigerian workers. In his New Year message titled, "In 2025, Hope is in our collective resolve," NLC President Joe Ajero emphasized the need for policies rooted in transparency, inclusivity, and honesty. He also called for a collaborative effort to draft a new tax law that reflects national interests and garners wider acceptance. Ajero reiterated the importance of governance delivering tangible benefits such as improved health care, housing, education, and security, while urging the government to honor labor agreements and respect workers' rights. The NLC also plans to push for a wage review in 2025, highlighting the need for incomes that align with the rising economic realities. Workers' welfare is central to national productivity, Ajero emphasized. He called on Nigerians to unite in their resolve to build a prosperous, inclusive nation, pledging the NLC's commitment to fostering industrial peace and protecting workers' rights. Kano State government has strongly expressed opposition to the proposed tax reform bills currently before the members of the National Assembly. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, who spoke through his deputy Aminu Abdulsalam Gwarzo, declared that the government's position during the 2025 celebrations held at the Filin Mahahak Offer Naisa Open Theatre. According to a statement issued by his chief press secretary, Ibrahim Garba Shuaibu, tax reform bill is not the solution to the economic challenges. He said Kano State stands firmly against any policy that negatively affects the welfare of the people. He lauded the resilience of Kano residents amidst economic challenges, describing the proposed tax hike as ill-timed, lopsided, and inimical to the unity of the country. Joining us via Zoom is Salahuddin Hashim. He is the program director, Clean Foundation, one of the CSOs. Mr. Salahuddin Hashim, welcome to News Hour.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on the tax reform bills? When I say you, I mean the CSOs.
Yeah, I think first of all, I want to slightly deviate from the NLC president's position around that particular bill. What I would have expected the president at this point to mention is the fact that we need to find some level of consensus around the contentious areas. The bill in itself, in its entirety, looks quite beautiful, until it got to the point where we were supposed to have this issue of derivation. I think that is where there is this palpable departure that we are seeing.
Yeah, you still have not thought of, okay, what is the position of Clean Foundation?
But again, the bill in itself for the some sort of single-digit tax regime, which I also think is something that this particular system would be helping to shape the economy. Another thing that the NLC president perhaps didn't take into account is the fact that workers are also going to benefits from this particular process because the payee is actually very exclusive in that particular bill, because it made it very clear that if you are actually earning below a particular threshold, that you are likely not going to be subjected to taxation. But again, I agree also completely that the contentious area, which is about derivation, requires some level of social dialogue for us to be able to engage constructively. And of course, because it is a national Assembly, that is the citadel of our democracy. But one of the things that we have also seen is perhaps the politicization of the entire process, which I think we need to pay some very close attention to.
Well, when you say politicization of the entire process, ab initio, organizations or rather groups like the National Economic Council, the Nigeria Governors Forum, Traditional Council, and some aspects of the civil society came out against the bill. Will you call that politicization?
Yeah, I mean, dissent is also part of our democratic culture and democratic journey. So it is very okay to have dissent. And of course, like I mentioned, that there is also a component in that bill that also projects the fact that there is a need for inclusiveness of all those who felt that particular portion of the bill, because there is no aspect of the bill that is actually creating contention other than the issue of derivation. I think everybody agreed to the fact that we needed that consolidation. Company income tax, for instance, is going to also enjoy to a particular threshold. And what this does is that it is actually going to reduce all of this issue that borders around reducing industrialization in this country and help local industries to thrive. Because multiple taxation is actually one of the key elements. I have actually had the opportunity to work in the organized private sector. And I know too well that multiple taxation is one of the biggest spike that actually deindustrialize every economy. So what this will help us do is to reduce that element that will help us reduce that level of industrialization and also promote the issue of employment and stimulate the economy. That for me is something that I find quite useful. Perhaps what NLC would have done is to actually set up a technical team to therefore come up with this recommendation. I know that in that particular statement, he had mentioned that sometimes in January in Ibadan, they were going to be having some level of espouse analysis into that particular document. What I would have expected from them is that they should have actually made this statement after that particular technical meeting had happened. Perhaps it will come up with clear recommendation other than just a fiat that we're actually listening now, which has a potential of actually derailing social intent. And perhaps again, finally on this point, is the fact that they also need to educate their own membership around the pros and cons of this particular bill. I can guarantee you, sir, that a number of Nigerians don't even understand or have seen or have read the content of that bill. But I tell you, as much as we have seen some negatives, there are also positives that we also need to project.
Well, taken from what you just said, a lot of Nigerians don't seem to understand these bills. So will you agree with me that it appears even government itself appears to be in a haste to pass the bill when majority of Nigerians appear not to understand it? So in this case, will you prefer a situation whereby there is dialogue across the board of maybe improving the knowledge of the people on the various gamut of the provisions of the bills, and then of course coming to what you suggested, the social engineering aspect? What will Clean Foundation suggest as a way forward for the social engineering or dialogue?
What I will have done very clearly is to actually immediately commission zonal public hearing on this particular bill. That for me would be the immediate solution and get the buy-in of Nigeria and make the report genuine, public, and accountable. Unfortunately, because the National Assembly in recent time had actually been seen as actually a stamp or an extension of the executive, so it made it very easy. Remember, we had the issue of the national anthem and ordinance revised act when the national, it actually just passed through very quickly without actually consulting Nigerians. So again, we have templates of similar legislations that had gone through the National Assembly without extensive consultation. So they had brought this again as part of that particular process. And why is it so? It is simply put because National Assembly over time have not put up this kind of resistance, this kind kinds of engagement, because that is exactly what democracy is all about, to engage constructively and then, of course, ensure that everybody have their say, even though at the end of the day, majority will have their way, but people must actually have their say because they have become just some level of an approving stamp over the years. I think that is actually what has actually disappointed those who are propagating the bill. There might be motive, we cannot take away that fact. There might be remote intentions, you cannot take away that fact. But most importantly is that you cannot throw away a baby and its bathwater. There are the good side of that bill, there are the other side people are contesting. And I think immediately we should actually commission zonal consultations and engage Nigerians directly and get to hear from them what would be the way forward.
Yeah, and then what will you be saying to the governors who are opposed to the bills? Some key governors have come out to speak against it and appear to say that they are speaking for an entire region.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think governors by now should actually now know that one of the reasons why they are actually opposing this bill is because they lack those local content that will help them to derive benefits. So it is an eye-opener, actually, for them to now begin to see that they must actually begin to invest very strongly in areas that will also give them cutting-edge advantage in the future. Because again, whether this bill dies now, it is actually something that might resurface in the nearest future. But the question now is, these governors now need to have clarity in terms of what are the areas they need to prioritize in terms of localizing some level of economic advantage, stimulating industrial growth, and of course finding some level of expansion. That in itself is something that they need to have. I recall that some years ago, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo had the needs and the seeds and the leads document, which is supposed to allow every state and every region to have some level of economic stimulation program. So the question is to this governor, what are the economic programs that they have developed that will help them to situate themselves in a vantage position just in case this bill goes through? Even if it does not, it is an eye-opener that in the nearest future, somebody else might come up and that particular assembly might not resist it, and it becomes a law. So what are the preparations that you have that will help you to be able to have cutting-edge advantage at that time?
Well, in a nutshell, as program director, Clean Foundation, what will you be telling the National Assembly, or rather, the moment they come back from their recess, what will you be telling them as the way forward so that the bill does not die?
So the way forward for me now is that there are quite a whole lot of value on the one side of the bill. There are also the aspects so they should actually commission immediate zonal hearing. At one time, I was part of the constitutional amendment review process where consultations actually happened in every state because they had requested all the parliamentarians to go back to their constituencies. The idea and the beauty of the National Assembly is that every constituency is actually represented there. So the idea is that all these guys should go back to their constituencies and, of course, engage constructively and openly and transparently, and then of course report the freedom of the people. But before then, awareness must happen. People must know the content of that bill. If people don't know, when it comes to the point of actually doing that kind of zonal, they will be stampeded. So there's a need for a wide and exclusive awareness, and I think your media platform is doing very well, and I think NOA should actually complement what you are doing to advance this particular knowledge.
Program Director, Clean Foundation, Mr. Salahuddin Hashim, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Moving on, the federal government has advanced its efforts to extradite Simon Ekpa, the pro-Biafra agitator from Finland, to Nigeria. Chief of Defense Staff, CDS General Christopher Musa, confirmed that most of the necessary documents have been submitted to the Finnish authorities. While avoiding detailed comments on the matter, General Musa expressed optimism that the process will move forward swiftly. The CDS says the federal government has forwarded most of the requirements to the Finnish government. Simon Ekpa has been on Nigeria's radar over alleged involvement in the rising violence against security agents in the southeast. After months of governmental pressure, Finnish law enforcement arrested him, that is Simon Ekpa, on November the 21st, signaling potential progress in bringing him to justice. The extradition process represents a critical step in addressing the challenges posed by the secessionist violence in the Southeast region. The National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, has commended the Nigerian Military Department of State Services, Nigeria Police Force, and other security forces for their efforts in neutralizing security threats. Ribadu also said the collective vigilance and cooperation of Nigerians had been instrumental in the fight against terrorism, violent extremism, and other security threats. The NSA stated this in Abuja on Wednesday in his New Year message delivered through the National Coordinator of the National Counter-Terrorism Center, Major General Adamu Laka. He specifically noted that the successes recorded in the efforts to enhance national security were rooted in the cooperation of Nigerians, dedication of members of the armed forces, security agencies, as well as the intelligence community. He noted that security is everyone's responsibility, adding that the fight against terrorism and criminality could not be won without the active participation of citizens. Chief Magistrate Court sitting in Kaduna on Tuesday ordered the remand in the Nigerian Correctional Center, Kaduna, of self-styled activist and public commentator Shehu Mahdi. Mahdi was arrested a few days ago by officers of the Department of State Services, DSS, after he rebuffed pleas to pull down inciting videos he posted online claiming that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu granted France the approval to set up a military base in northern Nigeria. Mahdi's narrative came on the heels of a related claim by the military leader of Niger Republic, Abdurrahmani Tichiani, that France set up a military base in northern Nigeria. Mahdi blamed Tinubu for endorsing the deal in a viral tweet. Both Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, and Minister of Information, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, have since debunked the claims as baseless. On Tuesday, the DSS arraigned Mahdi before Magistrate Abubakar Lamido on a 2-count charge of conspiracy, aiding and abetting terrorism, which the agency said is contrary to Section 26, subsection 2 and 3 of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022, and inciting public disturbances contrary to Section 78 of the Penal Code Law of Kaduna State 2017. Local fishermen along the banks of River Kaduna have expressed concerns about the decreasing number of fish and other aquatic animals in the river. They say the frequent shrinking of the river, worsened by environmental factors, is threatening their livelihood, making it increasingly difficult to catch enough fish to sustain themselves. TUS TV's Bello Musa visited the riverbank and brings us this report.
River Kaduna is a source of livelihood for many, especially the youth. Fishermen are among those who depend on the river to earn a living. However, they lament that, unlike in the past, the number of fish they catch has drastically reduced. In the past, we would catch a reasonable number of fish, but now the fish population in this river has significantly decreased. Plastic and polythene bags hardly decompose, polluting the river and contributing to its shrinkage. In areas of the river where there are no settlements, we still catch a good number of fish because there is no water pollution in those places. Environmental experts agree that pollution is a major cause of water contamination, which ultimately leads to the decline of aquatic life.
Now, what is the implication on the aquatic life? Aquatic life, majorly, they eat whatever they see within the water body. And some of them, if they, plastic does not dissolve or digest or even decompose on time. Plastic can stay millions of years without decomposition, unless if there is any chemical or any form of decomposition that will actually enter into the water and affect that the formation of that plastic. Now, aquatic life will eat that. If they eat that, what happens is that it will make them to go into extinction. Like, they cannot digest it.
While fishermen are calling on the government to dredge the river, experts emphasize the need for more public awareness and stricter enforcement for environmental regulations to protect water bodies.
It has to come from government. There should be a policy on ground to actually manage this, in the sense that anybody found wanting, after creating enough awareness, both individuals and government, then anybody found wanting doing such thing should be sanctioned.
We urge the government to designate specific areas for waste disposal that could also be used for composting, which can serve as a fertilizer. The state of River Kaduna, especially during the rainy season, calls for urgent action to prevent further harm to the river and its aquatic life. Bello Musa, Trust TV News Kaduna.
This is News Hour. Coming up after the break, Kaduna communities celebrate Afan Festival commemorating cultural heritage. More news when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust TV. Let's take a look at our top stories again. Controversy continues to tread proposed tax reform bills, and fishermen voice concerns over shrinking fish stocks in River Kaduna. Residents of Ekpan community, the hosts of Warri Refinery in Ovie local government area of Delta State, have expressed mixed reactions to the revitalization of the facility, which had been dormant for more than a decade. While some hail it as a boost for job creation and economic growth, others remain skeptical about its capacity to deliver. Jonathan Awanya has more.
Indigenous of Ekpan community in Uria local government area, host community of the Warri Refinery, have shared their views on the recent revitalization of the facility, which had been out of use for over a decade. Some residents of the host community have reacted positively to the coming on stream of the Warri Refinery, describing the news as a win for President Bola Tinubu's government. They express optimism that the revamping of the refinery is expected to create jobs and stimulate economic growth. However, not all residents are optimistic about the refinery's revitalization. Some have expressed skepticism, questioning the refinery's ability to operate at full capacity. They raise concerns about skeletal operations as against the full-scale functionality expected of the revamped Warri Refinery.
We the members of Ubeji community and its environment, you can see the excitement all over the place. People are happy. We are in joyous mood. We are so happy that is coming back to life once again. And the ever-bubbling Ubeji community will come to life. Businesses will resurrect. Employment will be directly or indirectly will be created. People will do business. People will like those who have relocated as a result of the closure of the refinery. So people there will come back.
We are happy that it's working now. It will provide jobs for our youths and create businesses for the people around the neighborhood.
They also express worries about previous promises to revitalize the refinery that failed to deliver. According to them, they need to see tangible results and not just promises, and they hope the government will not abandon the refinery after revitalizing it. Despite the mixed reactions, the revitalization of the Warri Refinery is a significant development that has the potential to transform the economic landscape of the host community and the country at large.
We're too much happy because everybody, they don't pray for many years to make the refinery come back to work. Many people don't go back to village. Many don't die because refinery they work. Many people, their wife run leave themselves because this refinery. But today now we see say refinery lights don't on. They say that will start work January. So we're so happy. Why don't they work like they need to employ the community boys, make them give a job, make them work. Because people they never get good job, make them give a job. As long as they work, so make them give a job, make people they see things, make everywhere they busy. The way things did before, the way things did before we find out they work. We won't wait things be like that again.
Every day take government hand because whenever I need to when it comes, we benefit from them. Because if you work around, we benefit. We want to make government to make it work. Make we happy. Make everybody happy for this time.
Although the Warri refinery is reportedly operating at 60% capacity, the NNPCL says local production will boost supply, ensuring the availability of petroleum products. Jonathan Anwanyai, Trust TV News, Asaba.
Jigawa State Governor Umar Namadi has signed the state's largest ever budget of 698.3 billion naira for the 2025 fiscal year into law. Titled the Budget of Innovation and Transformation for Greater Jigawa, the financial plan aims to drive development across critical sectors. The signing ceremony followed 25 days of review and approval by the Jigawa State House of Assembly. Governor Namadi praised the legislature for its thorough examination and swift passage of the budget. He assured residents of the administration's commitment to transparency and effective implementation. The 2025 budget focuses on infrastructure, education, healthcare, agriculture, and youth empowerment, reflecting the state's development priorities. Governor Namadi highlighted plans to adopt innovative strategies for revenue generation and impactful governance.
The entire civil servant of Jigawa State, because this budget is a hard work, because the budget has to come from the ministries or the department before it is consolidated into what we are signing today. So I thank everybody for the hard work, and I want to call all of you, everybody, to work assiduously to ensure the execution of this budget.
One very interesting thing, just like His Excellency mentioned, this budget, total budget is 698.3 billion. 76% of it, all is capital expenditure. That's more than 540 billion it goes to capital expenditure. That is a very, very big thing that will happen in the Jigawa State.
Deputy Governor of Katsina State, Malam Farouk Lawal, has announced the state's significant strides in improving the healthcare sector, highlighting heavy investments in infrastructure, personnel, and services. Speaking during a monthly press briefing on Tuesday, the Deputy Governor emphasized that the Governor Radda's administration from inception to date has prioritized delivering quality healthcare services to the people.
The Katsina State Deputy Governor Malam Farouk Lawal disclosed that the government has recruited 254 additional health personnel, including medical doctors, nurses, and pharmacists, to strengthen the healthcare system. In tackling the shortage of medical doctors, the government has awarded full scholarship to 41 students to study medicine in Egypt, an initiative costing over 2 billion naira. To further incentivize healthcare professionals, the government has increased the entry-level salary for medical doctors and enhanced residency training allowances aimed at boosting morale and ensuring efficient healthcare delivery.
Government has also undertaken a series of awareness and prevention campaign programs, as well as the provision of medical support against HPV and cervical cancer, sickle cell anemia, seasonal malaria, in order to strengthen preventive measures against such diseases.
According to Malam Farooq Lawal, infrastructure development has been a major focus area, with the government investing 13.453 billion naira to upgrade 146 primary health care facilities across the state. The administration has also completed the construction of a dialysis center at General Ahmadi Specialist Hospital, which is regarded as one of the best in the country. Other key initiatives include the deployment of e-health solutions in 7 health facilities, the establishment of a pharmaceutical production unit, and strengthening the State Contributory Health Care Management Agency.
Enrollment of approximately 26,000 retirees in the state under the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund is also ongoing.
The Deputy Governor also highlighted government efforts to combat diseases such as HIV and AIDS, malaria, and diphtheria. Residents of Katsina have applauded Governor Dikko Umaru Radda's administration for its focused efforts in improving the healthcare sector, ensuring better services for the people.
President Bola Tinubu has ordered the reintroduction of history as a subject into the basic education curriculum. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa confirmed the directive by the President to restore the teaching of history in primary and secondary schools nationwide. Speaking during Channel Television's end-of-year special review show on Tuesday, Alausa stated that President Tinubu has mandated the return of Nigerian history as a subject in basic education. The development followed the formal reintroduction of the subject after its removal 13 years ago during the administration of late President Umar Musa Yar'Adua. The subject, that is history, was abolished in 2009 due to claims that students were avoiding it and that there were, or rather was, lack of job opportunities for history graduates. Additionally, a shortage of qualified history teachers was cited as another factor. However, in a move to correct the decision, former Minister of Education Adamu launched the initiative to bring back the subject. Represented by the Minister of State for Education, Goodluck Opia, during the inauguration ceremony in Abuja at the time, Adamu expressed concerns about the negative impacts of history's removal from the educational curriculum. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll be back shortly. Don't go away. Welcome back. At least 2 people, including a vigilante co-member, have been hospitalized following a clash between the residents of Soje area of Minna in Niger State capital and vigilante corps in the area. Reports say the clash, which happened in the night on Tuesday, was ignited by a raid of some spots suspected to have been occupied by hoodlums and drug peddlers. Residents say one of the vigilantes was injured during the face-off. One of the residents, who however preferred anonymity, said the area raided did not form part of the spots being used as hideout by hoodlums. The spokesperson for the Niger State Police Command, SP Wasiu Abiodun, confirmed the incident. He, however, said the vigilantes have already been directed to always work with the police while raiding any suspected spots that they suspect of cohabiting criminals. Operatives of the Federal Capital Territory Police Command recovered a total of 409.9 million naira from criminals during various operations in 2024. A breakdown of the recovered sum, according to the command's scorecard, made available to journalists on Wednesday by the command spokesperson Josephine Ade, reveals that 36.8 million naira was recovered from kidnapping suspects, 68.6 million naira from armed robbery suspects, and 19.6 million naira from burglary cases, and 285 million naira from fraud cases. Also in 2024, Ade stated that a total of 1,426 cases were reported, leading to the arrest of 1,077 suspects. According to the scorecard, fraud cases were the most reported, with 385 cases and 422 suspects arrested. This was followed by the armed robbery cases with 268 cases and 132 suspects arrested. One chance robbery ranked third with 263 cases, leading to 71 arrests. Car theft came next with 127 cases and 64 suspects arrested, while kidnapping completed the top 5 with 104 cases, resulting in the arrest of 216 suspects. The report also disclosed that 376 firearms, including 13 AK-47 magazines and 187 rounds of live ammunition, were recovered. A 7-year-old girl and 2 other villagers have lost their lives as suspected bandits attacked Kuki village under Randagi ward, Bernangwari local government area of Kaduna State. Local sources reported that the bandits in motorcycles stormed the area on Monday around 12 p.m. The area is located on the Kaduna-Niger border. It was gathered that the bandits also rustled cows and looted local shops. A community leader said the body of the 7-year-old girl was found in a nearby bush after the bandits left the community. In another report, hundreds of people gathered at the Murtala Square to celebrate the Kaduna 2025 New Year countdown. At exactly midnight on Thursday, Kaduna State Deputy Governor Hadiza Balarabi, alongside other government officials, led the crowd in welcoming the New Year. The event featured a musical concert and other entertainment activities, creating a festive atmosphere for attendees.
2024 has been a very challenging year, but in spite of that, we made some significant progress. So we want to thank Allah Almighty for that, for life, for living, for opportunities, and for chances. We made some progress in certain areas, and especially security. That is why we are here. Let's keep that spirit, the spirit of unity. I pray that Allah in His mercies will continue to unite the people of Kaduna State.
We are also quite aware that the journey will be very rough. It is the responsibility of the people to give the government all the support, and it's also the duty of the government to take it and take us to the next level. All we need to do is to pray and move forward. And at the same time, they also have to do their own bidding to say they must look at issue of security that has been our challenge, issue of poverty, unemployment, and so on and so forth has been our major threat to our national unity. So I have no doubt in my mind they will do their bidding, but they need to do more. We are expecting more from them, and 2025 year is a year that we are going to look inward to see if they are willing and determined to do better or not.
Still in Kaduna State, the historic Afan Cultural Festival in Kaguru ushered in the 2025 with a vibrant display of unity, heritage, and tradition. Held annually on January the 1st, the festival featured captivating performances by traditional dance groups from across the region, showcasing the rich cultural heritage of the people of Kaguru. Tajuddin Abbas, Speaker of the House of Representatives, was represented by Amos Gwamna Magaji of the Zangon Katav Jaba Federal Constituency, reaffirmed the commitment of the 10th National Assembly to promoting culture and tourism. He emphasized the critical role of the Assembly's Committee on Culture and Tourism and uniting the people and preserving traditions. His Royal Highness Ufowe Bonnet, the paramount ruler of Kaguru Chiefdom, in a speech delivered by Serikin Dawakin Kaguru, Ibrahim Bonnet, highlighted the festival's role in fostering unity, preserving Kaguru's culture for future generations. He commended the Kaduna State government for supporting farmers with farm inputs and addressed the importance of peace and security for development of the entire people and region.
We are reflecting on our past, celebrating our present, and envisioning a future that is bright, prosperous, and inclusive. The Afan Festival has long been a beacon of cultural pride, not only for the people of Kaguru and our local government area, but for our dear state. This festival, I understand, extends beyond even the shores of this country, serving as a powerful reminder of our shared humanity, our heritage, and the beauty that lies in our diversity.
festival has continued to endure from generation to generation, which means our resilience and our sense of unity is bigger than anything that is visited on us. Generally, the people of Kaduna South are peace-loving, very welcoming, and hardworking.
The Kaboro Afan National Festival is a time of thanksgiving, a time to thank God for successful season of harvest. We also thank God for good health and relative peace we are enjoying. The Afan Festival is unique to many respects. The festival brings home sons and daughters of Kaboro within and outside the state. They are friends, well-wishers from different parts of the country and beyond.
From Kaduna State to Rivers State, in a historic ceremony held on December the 31st, 2024, at the Government House in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Da Amakri Tubo, Alhaji Mujahid Abubakar Dokubo Asari, also known as Dabaye Amakri I, was officially presented with the staff of office at the Amayanabo of the Source, LMA Kalabari, by Governor Similaye Fubara. LM Kalabari, regarded as the cradle of the Kalabari development, holds a significant place in the history and socio-political evolution of the Kalabari Kingdom. It was the first settlement of the kingdom's founding fathers, marking the genesis of its growth before the people dispersed to establish present-day settlements. During the event, Dokubo Asari expressed his heartfelt gratitude to Governor Fubara for the honor conferred upon him. He pledged to leverage his position to promote social, cultural, and economic development within the Kalabari Kingdom, ensuring the prosperity and well-being of its people.
The appointment in terms of this recognition this evening is not for personal aggrandizement, but for service. It is a call, a responsibility to help us protect life and property in your domain. I don't want you to see this elevation as another platform to create problems in your locality. It's important to us. We have the power to still withdraw this recognition, but I don't intend to do that. So I want you to be partners to the government and to ensure that we continue to succeed. I know that you're men of integrity. Support the cause of governance so that we can all succeed together.
I'm very grateful, and we're going to work together with the Rivers State government to make sure that there is peace in my domain and resources from my domain are brought in to contribute to the revenue base of the state and to help the development and the growth of Rivers State.
The Northern Caucus of the House of Representatives, led by its chairman and the majority leader of the House of Representatives, Ado Dogwa, visited Dutse to extend condolences to Jigawa State Governor Omar Namadi and the people of the state over the loss of the governor's mother and son. Our correspondent reports that the caucus members offered prayers for the repose of the deceased and joined other prominent personalities in sympathizing with the governor. The report.
Among the dignitaries present were the Special Assistant to the President on Political Matters, Kabiru Masari, Minister of Budget and Planning, Atiku Abubakar Wagudu, Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, Labour Party Presidential Candidate, Peter Obi, and Aliko Dangote, CEO of Dangote Group, among others. During their visit to the Presidential Lodge at the Government House in Dutse, the sympathizers praised Governor Namadi's resilience, perseverance, and calmness in the face of the tragic loss. They lauded his commitment to continue development efforts in the state despite the personal challenges. The group prayed for the souls of the departed and encouraged the governor to find solace in the belief that life and death are ultimately in God's hand.
We came in here to put on record and to identify with our leader, the executive governor of Jigawa State, architect Umar Namadi, over this very sad indeed, very disheartening development. The loss of our mother, Hajia, and incidentally the loss of our own son is an irreparable development, something you cannot quantify. So we all came here to congratulate himself, the Excellency, the Governor, his immediate family members, and by extension to also condole with the entire people and government of Jigawa State.
We stand with you during this difficult time and pray that God comforts you and your family.
It's a very tragic event, but Allah knows best. When things of this nature happens, we are not, as human beings, we are not to question what Allah has done. But for us to come here and share the grief of His Excellency, his family, and the government and people of Jigawa State, it behoves on us to come and pray to the repose of the departed.
We are here to most sincerely condole the governor on this great loss of the mother and the son. I'm here on behalf of my family, on behalf of Labour Party and the obedient groups, to sincerely condole him for this great loss and continue to remember him in our prayers that Almighty Allah will forgive their sins and grant them eternal rest and grant him the fortitude to bear their great irrepressible loss.
I came here to commiserate to my brother, His Excellency, the Governor of Jigawa State, over the loss of his mother and also his first son. This is something that is from Almighty Allah. Once it is your time, there's no way about it. We're all waiting for our own time. Everybody has his own appointed time of, going back to his Lord. So may the Almighty Allah, bless their soul and give them Al-Jannah Firdausi.
In response, Governor Umar Namadi expressed gratitude to the visitors for the support and words of encouragement, thanking them for helping him remain steadfast during this divine test.
On the international scene, at least 23 Congolese soldiers are facing the death penalty or 10 to 20 years in prison following their arraignment on Monday for alleged rape, desertion and other crimes amidst the fighting in the country's conflict-battered East region. Army spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hazuke said the soldiers were brought before a military court in Butembo territory in the North Kivu province. Security forces have been fighting more than 120 rebel groups in the mineral-rich region for years. Congo lifted a more than 20-year moratorium on the death penalty in March 2024, a decision criticized by rights activists. In May 2024, 8 soldiers were sentenced to death for fleeing the battlefield, and in July 2024, 25 soldiers were convicted of similar offenses. But of yet, none of them is known to have been executed. In another development, Saudi Arabia has put 6 Iranians to death for drug trafficking. The Interior Ministry said Wednesday, after a year in which it carried out a record number of executions. The ministry said in a statement that the 6 were executed in Daman on the Gulf Coast for having clandestinely introduced hashish into the kingdom. Iran summoned the Saudi ambassador to hear a strong protest against the unacceptable violation of the rules and norms of international law. Saudi Arabia carried out at least 338 executions in 2024, sharply up from the 170 recorded in 2023 and the highest number so far in decades. Human rights group Amnesty International has been documenting executions in the kingdom since the 1990s and says that the previous highs were in 196 in 2022 and 192 in 1995. Now, let's go back to Emmanuel Fashimi, who has the sports reports for us.
The Nigerian Basketball Federation (NBBF) says it has started preparations for the last and crucial qualifying window for the 2025 Men's Afrobasket Championship. The 2025 FIBA Men's Afrobasket will be the 31st edition of Africa's most prestigious men's basketball championship. The tournament will take place in Luanda, Angola capital, between the 12th and 24th of August 2025 for the fourth time after previous hosting rights in 1989, 1999, and 2007. Former Afrobasket champions and four-time silver medalist Nigeria will travel to Libya to compete in the last and final round of the qualifiers. According to NBBF, invitations has already been sent out to players who are going to execute the qualifiers. The president of the Nigeria Basketball Federation (NBBF), Engineer Musa Kida, said the team will be made up of home-based and foreign players plying their trade outside the shores of the country. Nigeria's D Tigers will be looking forward to grab one of the two tickets available in Group B. The Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) organizers has announced the official opening of the 2024-2025 mid-season transfer window. The window will be open from 6th of January to 5th February 2025. It is another period which allows the 20 clubs in the league to strengthen their squads with new players for the second stanza of the season. Meanwhile, the NPFL has also embarked on a 3-week break after the completion of the Matchday 19 fixtures. Remo Stars finished top at the end of the first stanza with 36 points from 19 games, followed by Rivers United with 34 points, Shooting Stars third on 33 points, Enugu Rangers and Ekanemi Warriors complete the top 5. Nasarawa United occupies the bottom of the table with 19 points, having played 18 games. And that is sports. I am Emmanuel Fashemi.
And that concludes this edition of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news and programs, including documentaries. Thank you for watching. I am Muhammad Kudu Abubakar. Good night.